Hey family, welcome back to One on One with Cut Nice 50. If you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Like always, full links will be in the description section below. Today, man, we're featuring Anton Daniels and one of his channels, the Millionaire Morning Show. He's talking about why is DL Hughley, Jermaine Dupri chasing black men for their vote, and how much is Kamala Harris paying. So he's accusing them of a lot of things right now, but we're gonna go ahead and watch this. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about it. When I say he's cooking on here, so I'm gonna try not to interrupt too much because when I say he's cooking, he's actually cooking. Besides politics, besides everything else that's going on, I don't care which side you're on. If you're on Democrat or Republican side, you got to do what's right for you and your family, and you got to live with the decision after it's made. We all know how the economy is right now. We all know how it was when Trump was president. And it's no matter what where you vote, you can't decide, but like, hey, it was better back then, that it's gonna be better going forward because the world has changed due to the pandemic. But besides that being said, don't forget to share your comments, share your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Black celebrities. And we're going to get into the whole BET movement next after this. But black celebrities have now come out in mass. I have never in my life seen more black celebrities, more town halls. The only other time that black people and black men in particular came together was during the Millionaire Man March, and Farrakhan had to do that. Let me tell you something. The only time that I seen I'm sorry, you're right. It's one other time outside of that. The main time that I seen black people come together for no reason was when they came together for the Million Man March, and then they made some movies that came along with it. The only other time that I see black men come together in order to advocate for women is when they opening up a new strip club in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen so many black men come together outside of a Diddy party to advocate for women to do things that's in the that's only other time I seen them come together was when they all wanted to go to a Diddy party so they can get told up.
Hey, share your thoughts about that. When was the last time you seen all these black celebrities, men, come together supporting one party or whatever the case may be? Share your thoughts. Let me know. I kind of agree with the Millionaire March and Farrakhan did that, but until then, recently, I can't really even say George Floyd. Um, that was pocketed. Ahmaud Arbery when I was down here in Georgia. So I mean, it's been times, but not like the level that he's saying right now. All the top black celebrities, you can think it's Diddy, you can think whatever the case may be. We'll never know because we don't have all the data and stats. If we had video footage, then we can speculate or we'll know the truth. But until then, share your thoughts. Let me know your perception.
I ain't seen so many black men celebrities in the same room since they all said that they wanted to go to a Diddy party. The only other time. That's it. That's it. Is it just me? Is it me? Or is it this election? I don't know. Let's see what DL Hughley had to say on the news on CBS Mornings about candidates focusing on black male voters with election day right around the corner. Let's get to it.
The election likely to come down to tens of thousands of votes in battleground states. The candidates are tailoring messages for every single group that may have a vote up for grabs that could put them over the edge. One group Harris has been focusing on, as you've noticed, probably black men. Just this morning, she was on the radio show, The Breakfast Club. And 2 weeks ago, she sat down with the host of The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God. There, she rolled out her economic opportunity agenda, specifically for black men, which includes forgivable loans for black businesses. Former President Trump, for his part, has held roundtables.
And this, when it comes to small loans for black business, I was denied several loans, especially during the pandemic. For I don't know about you, share your experience when it came to it, when all these other millionaires and people like that was getting it, all the fraud later on years after the fact. But most small businesses that I actually seen went out of business because they didn't have additional funding. The resources were cut short. And I myself, I had to put mine on the back burner for a while. Maybe we'll be starting back up in 2026. We got through the 5-year crunch, which is the hardship doing starting your business. And y'all know selling health and wellness supplements, everything organic, vegan, stuff like that. It's hard to get your supplies because I wanted to do everything local, like I feel America should be doing is homegrown. You get all your supplies, your goods, your resources in America. That way you can slow down the funds that we kick into foreign nations. But that's just my own perception. If you know anybody who did receive a small business, how much was it? Was it beneficial? And did it sustain their business during those rough times? Let's go.
Black voters. And he told an Atlanta crowd that African Americans and Latinos who cast their votes for Harris need to have their
These commercials, boy. Like I said, the commercials, the pamphlets, everything else that we getting in there. Just imagine they put their funds to something that we actually need.
need to have their heads examined, saying, quote, they're really screwing you, unquote. Now, much has also been made of a New York Times poll from a few weeks ago that found that 20% of Black men plan to vote for Trump and that Black male support for Harris is lower than it was for Biden in 2020. Now, CBS News polling, however, shows that Harris support with Black voters is pretty stable, and according to exit polls, is roughly on par with their 2020 and 2016 support. But the Harris campaign has made moves that make it look like they're at least a little bit worried about this voting bloc. Our friends at BET, which like us is owned by Paramount Global, decided to go ahead and hear from Black men. Tonight, their Black Men Summit premieres at 10 p.m.
And that was last night, but let's continue.
Central.
Did y'all watch that?
Radio personality D.L. Hughley hosts the conversation with Black politicians, leaders, and artists. And D.L. is with us now, and we'll talk to him in just a second. But first, we want to play this exclusive clip from tonight's special featuring Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson.
Right. Our socialization has taught us to praise people who are famous.
Right.
Our socialization has taught us to praise people who can get a lot of women and can say what they want and do what they want and have said, hey, that's the image of a real man. That's the image of a strong person. That's the image of a real leader who can just fire people at will. Now he's running for president. And a lot of people are like, wait, no, that's not.
Hey, why are they talking like Trump wasn't already president of the United States of America for 4 years? I asked the guy at the table today when I was going to pick up my pancake house on the way into the studio. And I asked him and I said, because they was talking about Trump. It was some older Black men, 60 and above, most of them. And I'm going to go into it on the next segment. And I asked him, I said, hey, listen, if Trump is this bad and this is what he want to do to y'all, then how come he didn't do it in the last time that he was in office? Oh, he didn't get a chance to. I said, so if he didn't get it, I said, so in 4 years, 4 years, he had an opportunity to create an agenda to where he didn't focus on opportunity zones. He didn't focus on continuing to fund HBCUs. He didn't do any of that type of stuff, right? Instead, he actually advocated for it. And y'all actually loved Trump prior to him getting into office and running for president of the United States of America in 2016. Why didn't he push this agenda to where he wanted to unseat y'all and completely destroy y'all lives? Why didn't he do it the first time around?
And this is one of the questions I ask everybody. Like I said before, I'm not voting, period, because I believe in the uniparty. I don't agree with everything that Trump says and stuff like that, but the policies make sense. I just can't see it. I never vote Democrat again because I was born into Democrats. Born that Democrat was for poor people, Black people, and Republicans for rich people and white people. That's just what it is. Coming up from the hood, the projects. That's what we was taught until you actually start researching, educating yourself. You find out that's far from the truth. I done had so many people look out for me on both sides, so Black, white, Chinese, you name it. So I don't look at people or judge them by the identity politics or for their color, their skin, whatever the case may be. I think we should all judge them off what they actually done. So you go to their history, you go to their work history, what they actually did when he was in office or politics or their record, and it speaks volume when you hear from these people on either side. You know, only thing they can say about Trump that his behavior was not up to par. You can't say anything about his policies. But Harris, on the other end, you can say that our policies actually put a lot of Black people in jail. I don't know if y'all seen that story with a young Black mother whose daughter had mental disorder, and they locked her up and stuff like that, and she was in court for years trying to fight it. And she was the only parent taking care of her daughter at the time. It was a horrible, sad story, not to mention the crisis at the border and stuff like that. But I'm not going to ramble on about both sides because I don't think it's Harris. She wasn't put as VP for that reason. Her thing was never securing the border. You know, like I said, these are only stick figures. They're not made to do what they can't do. You know, it's the lesser of two evils. You even said, you know, I mean, if I was a voter, I would be leaning more to the Republican side than the Democrat side. I never vote Democrat ever again, just because I don't believe in abortion and whatever you want to say. That's just my own biblical views. And some things, when you see it, you can't unsee it. When you hear the truth, you can't act like you erase the truth. The truth is the truth. But that's my own biblical sense. So I don't think that religion and politics should ever mix because we all have morality. You know, we are easily persuaded by our friends, family, and everybody else. We want to please others, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's off of biblical principles. We find ourselves doing this in every other day. I myself personally, that's one of my flaws. I'm not going to judge people for their own personal decisions they make about their life, how they live their life. I'm never going to do it. Now, biblically, I could be in the wrong for not doing that, but that's just me. I'm not created that way. Everybody has their own perception, their own views, and how they live their life, and that's fine. So we're all flawed in whatever way you want to think that makes sense. But let's go ahead and continue.
These people are talking like he wasn't already president of the United States of America, and we can't see a large sample size of what his presidency would look like for us as individuals.
That's not it
Right.
anymore.
Right.
But years of socialization have to that you want to leave. The perception of X-ism.
Right, I gotta wear shades. DL, good morning.
Good morning, man. You know I love democracy. I'm up early in the morning trying to save it, baby.
I hear you.
You up early with shades on?
Let's talk about these vote totals that may or may not come in by black men voting for Kamala Harris. It would seem the campaign's at least a little worried, at least based on the Obama comments and where they've been going and the audiences they've been having. But other people say, not so fast. This is all overblown. Where do you stand on the question?
Well, ultimately, I think it's a false choice. I think that it's disingenuous to pretend that black men, we vote at a higher rate than any other demographic except black women. And I think we're going to be there ultimately. But I think the media seems to be a bit one-sided. I think it is legitimate to ask the question, whether Kamala and the campaign is concerned about the perceived erosion of black men. But it would be a more honest approach would be, why is he eroding? We can talk to DeAndre at the barbershop in Detroit. Why aren't we talking about him losing Dick Cheney and Geraldo Rivera and Jeff Flake? So it seems a bit one-sided. I think that she's working as hard as she should to reach out to people who are an important constituent and to hear their concerns. It's also important to remember that Donald Trump has been the top of the ticket for the Republican Party for 10 straight years.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question. The question was about the engagement of black people and whether or not they're going to continue to vote for Kamala Harris, considering that we've traditionally, as a black population or as black culture, swung in favor of Democrats, but more and more of them, men in particular, are moving towards the party of the Republican because we are largely considered conservative in our lifestyle anyway. The question was,
and I gotta agree with it. Like I said, I'm gonna let Anton cook. But I like this video right here. I think is no tax on tips, Social Security, and Medicaid. I don't know what working American can refuse that. If you are a voter, I definitely would vote for that myself. I don't see nobody. There's some endless money in your pockets, but that's just me. I just hate the smear campaigns on either side. I don't do negativity or stuff like that, but I get it. That's why it's called dirty politics. Let's go.
This demographic, the same thing happens every single time. And you know what that is? Somehow, some way, they start talking about how much they don't like Trump. It's free promotion, baby. It's free promotion, baby. Every single time, somehow, some way, they go into what they don't like about Donald Trump, no matter what the question is.
And it's never come up with a plan. He has concepts of a plan. 120 days she's been out and already has a plan that was an agenda for black men that they constructed. So I think you can see that.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in marijuana laws being decriminalized on a federal level. That don't really affect me.
Difference is right there.
DL, just this morning on the Breakfast Club, Kamala Harris said that brothers aren't saying that they are going to Trump, that is overplayed in the media. But the polls are what they are, or do you think the polls aren't accurate?
Well, I think the quickest way, I say this all the time, the quickest way to make a black dude lie to you is ask him a question with a clipboard in your hand. So I think, if there are people who are reticent to speak to pollsters who are Trump voters, I think that would be true of anybody. I think, but I don't know the methodology. I know personally this is not anecdotal, but I don't know anybody who's ever been polled before. But ultimately, I think this is an opportunity for young black men or black.
Hold on. He said he don't know anybody who ever been polled before, and y'all know they go to these election in your area wherever you go in the voting and stuff like that. They go and they actually question these voters. So he don't know nobody in this neighborhood, none of his fans, supporters who show up to his comedy house. He don't have nobody in his inner circle who has actually been polled. So that tells you how out of the atmosphere he is. I can name plenty of people who has been polled before, but I'm not on that level. You know what I mean? I'm not easily persuaded by money or influence to vote either side. I'm like, what's my guy name? King Kong Conscious or whatever, Dr. Umar Johnson. And we know he's a character, but I agree with him. His statement on voting for any political candidate or party or whatever else. Just y'all know he's trying to get the school up. I think it'll be open this year or next year, and or maybe this year and then no next year and then maybe fully open by that winter or fall or whatever the case may be. But he doesn't think that you should vote for a political party because if they do something wrong, now it smears what you got going on because you kind of backed them, you supported them, and I got that same sentiment. These are only human beings. They're not going to be able to do but so much that it can contradict at times. Like I say, it's a government level. So a lot of things come into play. You got other parties that's going to influence their vote. Say if they voting for whatever you voting for, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get passed. You got other legislatures, Congress, Senate, House, you name it. So I do believe in voting, but on that smaller level when it's actually going to affect your community. And I'm actually doing my research on digging into it myself and maybe potentially going into it on that smaller level, seeing what changes that we can make if we're going to stay in the same community for a while. Because I have young kids. Even though I got older kids, I got a 2-year-old now, so starting back over and seeing these agendas by certain sides, I can't stand by and not do nothing. Even though I don't agree with or support it, we still got to live this life together. I don't believe in disrespecting nobody for their own personal beliefs and how they live their life, but I'm always protect those who can't protect themselves. That's just me. I'm always look out for the best interests of the children. Put your needs beside, but I think that's what a man's job is. And for DL, or for any man who say they have young daughters and stuff like that, and they're voting for that side, I just don't logically understand it. But that's what we're not supposed to. We're not the same. We have different belief system and different belief in God. So of course it's like talking to a brick wall. You can't persuade nobody to do nothing that they don't want to do if they're unable to see the truth. And that's just how I look at life. That's how I walk in life. But still, with that being said, I'm not going to judge you for your decision based on the knowledge that you have currently and how you live your life and how you walk your life. Let's go.
Period. To do something I've never seen the political process avail them to, and that's an opportunity to tell people what they want. And I think she's done that, and she was doing that before she was the top of the ticket, and she's doing it now. And I think she's laid out an agenda that is full of the things that a lot of black men have said they wanted, and I think we have an obligation to see if she is true to her word.
So
no. I haven't heard anybody ask black men what they wanted, and I've seen them roll out a set of policies or a set of revised versions of what they've already had on the books to then try to appease. And that's why even when you looked on the website, it says to black men and others. And then right under those summary talking points, you know what you're seeing? Right under those summary talking points, do you know what you're seeing? You're seeing an ad about how it is that you need to be afraid of Donald Trump. You're seeing an ad of how you needed to be afraid of Donald Trump. Look at.
I think I just got another. On everything. I just got another. What it is a text talking about. Hey Travis, how do you like your black job? Thinking that's what Trump said or whatever the case may be, and they taking it out of context about black jobs. So how do you know I'm black? I hate that solicitation they get in your phone. There was all these texts, like I said, the mail stuff and everything else. Yes, people gonna vote for whoever they're gonna vote for, whatever the case may be. But let's save the resources and actually look out for the people in the country. There's a lot of people out there suffering, a lot of people out there still trying to struggle to make a way, and they don't care about that.
We're going to go ahead and do so because this is my show and I can do what I want when I want to do it, and nobody can tell me what to do because I don't control. I'm not controlled, and I'm not a paid shill. Nobody can control me, and nobody can tell me what I can and can't talk about. Guess what? I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Yep, I do what I want to do.
Yeah, when y'all see these policies that he pull up.
Nah, there will be no subscribing for me. If I go to it, I can look at it. Oh, smack to black entrepreneurs and others. I already got good healthcare coverage, so I'm not really focused on that. I'm good because the National Health Equity Initiative is applicable to everybody. I don't really care about legalizing marijuana.
And let me test base. When he's talking about the healthcare, I have good healthcare. My wife has good healthcare. But even with that being said, I don't like the healthcare system in America regardless, because you can't choose what healthcare provider you go to. Y'all know I'm all natural. I'm doing the plant-based. I can't even go to a holistic doctor or a listed, even myself being a holistic nutritionist, but we can't go to a holistic doctor and pay with our insurance. That's all out of the pocket money. So why is that just that way? When we actually have stuff that can heal, treat, and cure the body, they'd rather you go to traditional medicine. But we're gonna go ahead and stick with that. Let him cook. Going to legalize marijuana. I don't smoke or drink, so I don't agree with it myself. But I know plenty of people who would. I don't just like people. They have keeping you high or whatever for a reason. I always look at the reasons why. Of course, they can make more money off it. Yeah, provide more money in the economy. But at the end of the day, is it getting us closer to God? That's my thing. At the age I am now, and keep going forward, I want to get closer to that walk with Him and bring other people to that light. But is this gonna actually do that? I mean, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Are you for it, against it, or you neutral to it? I don't believe in people going to jail because of it. So I agree with it on that standpoint because we already know the statistics back in the day for men who just smoking marijuana or had a little joint getting locked up was ridiculous. But let's continue.
The unjust barriers of smoking trees every day on a federal level. I don't care. And then all of the rest of this stuff is applicable to everybody because it's just the reform. It's the revised version of what she's saying as far as going after corporate America, who already have low margins in the grocery sector for price gouging for food and groceries. How is this applicable to black men? How are you? And again, this is the revised version, and that's why. Oh man. Oh my God.
But some people are fall for it.
And look, check this out right after that. Look at Donald Trump. He's a serious threat to the lives and opportunity of black Americans and men.
Yeah, they'll make you think he's evil, boy. I'll tell you that.
Trying to fearmonger you. They're trying to fearmonger you. But let's continue.
DL, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions about black men voters?
I know that one of the things that black men wanted that nobody paid attention to, and everybody called us, because I'm not even under the thumb of child support. They wanted revisions to the family court laws. Guess what you heard? Zero. Zilch. Nada. One of the things that black men said that they wanted, because they just threw these initiatives out and nobody wanted to have a conversation about it. One of the things that black men said that they wanted is they wanted to update family court laws that was established at a time where women didn't have as many rights as they have now. And women have the right to choose for themselves.
Cool.
They have the ability to be able to make as much money as men. And by default, the family court laws are still slated in the favor of women, yet we want to say we want equal for all. Why aren't we updating family court laws to better or less, or to more importantly, reflect the values and the ways in which opportunities are being presented to women today?
Now, is he cooking or what? Now, I actually agree with him on everything he's saying right now when it comes to family court laws. I've been for years looking, researching, seeing who can change the legislature, um, even from petitions and whatever the case may be. Just actually trying to do the research and see what steps it'll actually take. That was one of my motivating factors to maybe even getting into politics on the alderman level, on the your community. I mean, that's one of my main reasons was even though my son now, who's 2, will never be affected by this in a 2-parent household. My oldest son, who's going to be 18 December the 26th, was affected by that. I just don't believe in that child support system. It creates too much division. Um, the more money you make, the more money they take from the men per se. Even though I believe in that every man should be able to take care for his family, take care of his kids. That's your responsibility. That's it. But just the factors that go into play that creates the division in the family or animosity between the 2 parents, it kind of creates too much of a division because as a man, you want to be there for your kids, you want to do this and that, but now you have this mandatory payment you have to make, which can go up any time depending on if one parent is out of work or whatever the case may be, and depending on if you got a raw dog deal in your state, it can be horrible. You can't not stop working. You can't not even take a break. You're always on the grind. You're always pushing and pushing, and all the extra money that you do for the child outside of what the court paying to the court doesn't count. I found that out the hard way, but you can keep your receipts, you can keep everything else. But most judges, they don't care nothing about that. You should have paid it through the courthouse. So I tell young men who are getting caught up in these situations, if you do have child support and stuff like that, you want to do something for your kids, you just have to send extra money through the courthouse first. So it can be documented and registered with them. And that doesn't hinder your progress or your money, just in case later on down the line you lose a job, you get injured and stuff like that. All these come into play, but you don't learn that but until age. And opposite, same thing for the women. I know some men who got full custody of the kids, and the women are the ones on child support. So anybody who's actually paying the child support is in the same situation when it comes to these laws, regulations, and the things that they have to do to maintain and keep and provide for their family and friends, or their family and their children, and the time they actually have to invest and spend to just stay above water. Let's go.
And guess what everybody said? They were silent. You know what they always say? They say everything should be equal. Equal work for equal pay. People should have the right to do what they want to do with their own body. My body, my choice. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. Okay, cool. Since everything is equal, can we update the family court laws? No, you a man. You need to man up.
That's what they say.
Wait. I thought you said everything is equal, and I thought you wanted to know what men wanted. No, you a man. Wait. Is it equal? Or are we separating it? Because if I want to go and use your bathroom, you okay with it. If I want to go and play in your makeup and then dunk on your head, then you cool with it. If you let me get in the boxing ring and then go and use the bathroom next to your daughter, you cool with it. But when you ask me what I want, and I say that I want to update family court laws to be more reflective of what we're looking at in society today, you said that I need to man up. You don't really care about what I think.
And no
And guess
party.
what? I'm not even a person that is affected by it, but I'm listening to my constituents. I'm listening to my constituents. And I would love to make sure that I address your needs and concerns reasonably if it makes sense. And guess what? It makes sense. But I don't see anything. I don't see anybody asking men what they want, because the minute that they say what makes sense and what's fair and equitable for all, they ignore you. They don't want to hear nothing that you got to say. They want to throw you crumbs and say, eat.
And
Eat them crumbs.
that's
Take them little
both
crumbs off the
parties.
table.
Nobody's doing bipartisan
Yes,
deals.
update family court laws. Nobody is saying that you giving us.
You know, that's what I say, man.
Election alert.
They doing whatever they want to do. They're talking points and everything else to persuade you in whatever way they want you to vote. But actually doing this for, why can't both parties work together for that? For the betterment of the citizens.
Saying that we want to play a fair playing field. We want an equal playing field. Nobody is saying give us diversity, equity, and inclusion and give us a handout. We don't want your marijuana. We don't want your loans. We don't want none of that. All we want is the ability to have a fair playing field so we can make it make sense. When you decided that you wanted to align yourself with feminism and leave the family, we said, my money, my choice. Your body, your choice. My money, my choice. Why should you by default get the kids? Who said that you was the best parent? Shouldn't the best parent or the one that has the capacity or the availability of resources to be able to parent that child effectively, to put them in a strong household, in a great community? Shouldn't it be on a case-by-case basis instead of at default be swinging in the favor of a woman just because she's a woman? Because if the woman, men aren't complaining. Hey, if the woman is the one that's the best for the kid, all I'm asking you to do is to allow for me to play a role in his life, and we can figure it out from there. It's a case-by-case basis.
He cooking.
It should not be default slanted in one favor or another. Equal is equal, right? It's whoever is the best for the child, and also who is the most fair when it comes to making sure that the child has the ability to participate in both parents' life. Who can give this child the best situation and the best life? I don't really understand why that's such a bad thing. How come nobody is talking about that? Listen, when I run for president of the United States of America, the first thing that I'm going to do, no. I'm not doing nothing until I change and advocate all the way up to the top of the top. I want Congress to work with me. Congress members, Congress, I'd love to have your vote. Before we solve for anything that's happening, the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that we update our laws to more effectively be a reflection of what we see society going in today. And it is unfair. I mean, I don't like it. It's almost become a racket. We need to make sure that we update family court laws to be more reflective and for these judges to participate in keeping families together and making sure that they do the thing that's in the best interest of the child. Not
Now, I know he's just joking or whatever the case may be, but he's making an excellent point when it comes to, and if he did run, I actually vote for him. You know, if he had an amazing team around and stuff like that, and actually stay honest and true to himself when it comes to that situation, because he's been married to his wife, I think, from high school or whatever the case. It both always kids, same household. So he came from a two-parent household. He never had the luxury of going outside the normal. So he doesn't understand why most people are not operating in the same atmosphere. So, you know, like I said, I like Anton Daniels, a lot of his viewpoints, his stats he gives, his perception on a lot of things when it comes to realistic goals about eliminating the problem, premarital sex, waiting to have sex until you're married. Everything else, I agree with a lot of his views. I myself personally, like I said, I don't do negativity. I don't do down talking. I don't do disrespect towards women, men, whoever the case may be. And at times, it appears his emotions get the best of him. That's the only thing that I disagree with him on when I'm watching some of his shows and stuff like that. But he still's an amazing guy. He knows what he's talking about. I just say he's getting to that point where he's so big that when it comes to YouTube or social media, whatever the case may be, a lot of people listen to his viewpoints that it can be disrespectful to others as far as women and stuff like that. He can always still give his point out with the same way and the same delivery that he does without going to the extreme to prove his point to men, women, or whoever he's talking to or whatever he's going off. But that's his persona. That's his, I call it online personality. I don't think this guy acts like that way in real life, but online, it's what sells the views. It's what makes them keep going viral. It's what makes people do reels and videos and stuff like that. That's just a part of his character. Do I think he's like, because he has a lot of women friends, male friends, stuff like that. Do I think he's actually disrespectful in his day-to-day speech? No. But when he's trying to prove a point, he goes into character mode, what I call it, which is just a persona. I don't personally agree with it, but if you watch them before, you understand. You know what I'm talking about. And everybody is not the same way. I don't raise my voice for nobody. I'm not gonna get out my character for nobody. It's no matter what you call. I've been called every name in the book, but that maybe that's from my military law enforcement background and how I was raised. I don't use profanity because I heard it every day coming up as a kid. So that's just, we have our own way of walking the same walk together, but it's different delivery methods that we can use. It's different terminology that we can learn to use. And that's, like I said, I'm from the South, I'm Southern, I'm country, you name it. I slur sometimes, I have extra saliva in my mouth sometimes, but he does have excellent verbiage at times. He does speak well. He does provide his points, his stats, his data. He is in the business. He is in mortgages and stuff like that. So he's a numbers guy when it comes to statistics, and he loves doing this research. So he loves proving others wrong, proving this point, and just sticking to the, besides the talking points, and actually going to what's the rule, what's going underneath that we're not talking about or discussing. But let's go ahead and continue. Check out the full links for these videos in the description section below. Share your comments and questions. Let's go.
Not for any special demographic. It's about the children. It's about the children. When I become president of the United States of America, when I run my campaign, my first action is for us to update family court laws, and may the best parent be the one that gets the majority of the custody. Everybody getting joint custody. You get joint custody. You get joint custody. Yeah. And we're going to make sure that we hold these judges accountable to ensure that they are not substituting child support for alimony. That way, prenuptial agreements are absolutely 100% full in effect enforced. And another thing, since we going ahead and putting our agenda out there for 2034, where Anton is going to be running for president of the United States, 2034? 2036?
2034? What is 2024 right now?
Paternity, require paternity at the birth of the child.
Do y'all agree with that or what?
Paternity at the birth of the child, yes. It is no longer going to be default what she puts on a birth certificate, and then that's the person that pays child support. We gonna find out, and we gonna proactively hold people accountable for who they open up their legs to. And guess what? More of your money is gonna go in your pocket. You don't even need no tax cut. You're gonna get all of your own child support back, because we're gonna realize and figure out the fact that she had sex with somebody that wasn't you and had a child, and we're not going to require you to take care of that kid. Paternity at the birth of the child, and people going to start being more careful on who they open up their legs to. Listen, I got real solutions. I got real bipartisan solutions that's going to help the everyday American. And guess what? Guess what? That's not even just for black men. That's for all men.
Gotta get that clapper.
My agenda in 2036 is going to be absolutely 100% a bipartisan, working across both sides of the aisle, because both Democrats and Republicans alike are the ones that are suffering at the hands of family court law. It should not be this way. We're not gonna put a cap on insulin. We're gonna put a cap on lawyers' fees. We're not gonna put we're not putting a cap on insulin. Putting a cap on lawyers' fees. Yes, we are. Forget the cap of insulin. Some of us can just eat right. Forget that. Listen, eat right. You ain't got to worry about no insulin. We putting the cap on lawyers.
Nutrition, y'all know I'm big on that.
Yeah. We're not gonna drive people bankrupt just because they no longer want to sit there next to the.
Y'all know I'm big on health.
Tax increase, irreversible.
We can solve a lot of these health issues, especially in the country, if the country actually promoted more eating good, actually organic foods, and getting rid of these fake foods, as I like to call it, in America. It's a whole different ball game when you actually research what you do eat. So he's making some amazing talking points. Like I said before, if he actually does run, I'll vote for him or try to be on this cabinet.
We put the cap on lawyers' fees. Now, if you want to know what men really want, I could tell you what men want. And it ain't no federal non-banning on marijuana. Let's hear what the rest of the DOU got to say.
I think that we're not involved. I think that we're not engaged. Everything society cares about, we do. We care about our economic prospects. We care about being involved in the wealth making mechanisms of this country. We care about a woman's bodily autonomy. We care about the environment. We care about schools. So we're no different than anybody else. I think what is different is this is the first time in my recent recollection, or in my memory at all.
And when women decide that they want to put the wrong man on the birth certificate intentionally, that is a felony, and you are going to be prosecuted at the fullest extent of the law. That's falsifying documents. That is the equivalent of filing false documents in order to enrich thyself. That is going to be a felony by default.
Oh, but somebody asked us what we wanted. I've been married a long time. My wife ain't never asked me what I wanted, so it's a different process. But I think, I think, what do you want? Is this a trick question? I think it is interesting, and it shows how important we are. But we have to understand, like a lot of demographics understand, politics is transactional. You don't have to deify a politician or worship a politician. You don't have to they are a tool to get what you want. And I think for the first time, not only are black men being asked what they want, but they're coming up with specific things that they need to have to feel like they're participating in this process.
Dio, let's talk about the summit, which premieres tonight on BET. What is something you learned from it, and a misconception, something debunked? Any takeaway for you personally from what you learned?
Well, for what I have learned is that we're not a monolith. We're demographic that got.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on with the DL right there. Like I said before, I like Anton Daniels, man. Like I said before, he don't believe in censorship. He don't believe in being he believe in being honest, telling the truth, being straightforward, no matter if he hurts your feelings or not. I agree with a lot of stuff that he says, and he's a amazing individual when it comes to knowledge that he actually learns, the stuff he gives out, the stuff that he tries to prevent when it comes to relationships, when it comes to men and women going together, when it comes to single mothers not abandoning the family and stuff like that. I agree with him, but he also holds men and women accountable the same. Like I said before, if you are on his bad side, he does push that envelope and goes what I perceive to be disrespectful towards him. But it's the same energy. If they give him that energy, he's gonna match it. And as a man, I don't think you have to match energy. If somebody else is on level 10, it's a different way that you can handle that situation. But that's my background. That's my perception. And he does get his point across. Like I said, a lot of people like him. He's growing, he's getting better. I think he was on CNN. He was on other little talk shows doing this thing. There's a couple video views I want to do with him. I think it's a guy called Yada, and he was getting on him with about the 50-50 rule and other things that single mothers and these guys taking on other people's kids and stuff like that. And I agree with both sides because my wife has a son. I got my own kids. This is the world that we live in. So I get different points where he come from, but I also get where Antoine is coming from because he don't believe in raising other kids because he's never been in that situation. He's been with his wife for years and years, and they don't have outside kids, and he didn't come from that in his own childhood. So I guess the breaking the generational curses, I agree with, and I also see the guy Yada viewpoint, but his views is a little bit different from my liking. But like I said before, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think of this video. Do you agree or disagree that you watched that Black Man Summit? I guess I couldn't watch it myself personally. I know the election's around the corner, but just take these things for mindful. Ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you really want to hold these politicians accountable for on each side? It don't matter which way you choose after the fifth or whatever the case may be. We're gonna have somebody else new who's gonna be in the house, and we still gotta live this life together. That's at the end of the day. It don't really matter. It's not gonna affect us immediately, but we all know that they're gonna go against whoever get in. They can reverse the other policies that this side had, the Democrats or Republicans. It's both. They go back and forth doing that, and the people is the only one that suffer. It's no bipartisan deals, but if a policy is actually good, I think Harris now is supporting Trump's wall thing, saying that it was a good idea. And that we need it because of the problems that we have now in America because of it. But somebody else did some stats on it, and I'm not gonna get in on this video, but the numbers is outstanding, and they will take up a majority voting in some of these small neighborhoods because they will be the majority in a little bit. So the people who wasn't voting like myself, all these people immigrated in, and now they're the voting class. What side do you think they're gonna vote for? But it's the data. It speaks for itself. I think I got another amazing video, man. This guy is breaking down the whole system when it comes to immigration, when it comes to the money that these politicians are actually taking. And I learned I might do that breakdown on it. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do it. That you think that Trump is having all these billionaire packs from all the advertising that they say, but the more millionaires who are actually supporting Kamala Harris, and I think it was 80 something to like 50 something. It's ridiculous when it comes to who is actually supporting who. But I also believe in the uniparty, like I said before. But it doesn't matter about politics. Live your life, stay positive, stay motivated, stay inspired, treat others with respect, respect their own position whenever it comes to it. Don't disrespect each other. Don't create divide. Just stay positive. Keep living your life. Protect your children. Love each other. Stay positive. Stay motivated. Hey, thanks for tuning in to One on One with Cut Next 50. Don't forget to share, like, and comment. Check the links for these full videos in the description section below. And with that, we out.